It's great to see the turnout. I didn't have this on the agenda originally, but as we were standing here watching folks come in, I had this conversation with a number of people. The question is, I'd just like to see a show of hands. Do you think we should have started this at 6 o'clock, 6:30, or 7? We're just trying to get it. This is the first time we've done that. 6 o'clock, 6:30, 7.
Yeah, majority.
We'll keep it where we got it.
Okay, good.
Thanks. That made it easy. Although I've got the cards that everybody filled out, I'm going to answer the first one rather than ask the candidates to do it because it's really not an individual question. Question was, my husband and I very much disagree on who to vote for. Hopefully, you'll know by the end of the night. Can we split our vote? And the answer is yes, you can split your vote. You can call Todd in POA office, or you can go into the POA office itself, but they have to fill out the form for you, okay? So with that, let me just start by saying, according to the bylaws, we need to have a 50% plus one vote. So I'm encouraging everyone to make sure you vote when your ballot comes in. The ballot actually should be arriving within the next couple of days, okay? And there is a prize that somebody will receive who did it electronically. So all the more reason to do it, okay? Tonight, we are going to meet three of our 5 candidates. 2 of the candidates are actually out of town. But we did know that they were going to be out of town, and so what we did is we videotaped their presentations. This morning, we actually had one of them call in, and we were able to Zoom them in, and they actually were able to answer the questions as well. But he's out in the wilderness somewhere in Arizona, and he didn't know if he'd have internet or not. So far, he's in. So we'll be hearing from him as well. The way we're going to do this is we're going to have the candidates present in the order that they were randomly selected by the chairman of the election committee and the way they've been presented in the newsletter. They'll have 5 minutes to present themselves. When they're finished with the presentations, we'll get to the questions that were submitted, and they'll have 3 minutes each to answer those. So with that, I'm going to start by doing the first video, which is John Gersley, who's out of town.
Good afternoon. My name is John Gersley. I live at 3 Cottonwood Lane here on Yokohama Plantation with my wife, Dee. We moved here the end of November, a week before Thanksgiving in 2019. We joined the country club immediately because we didn't know anybody. Within a week, we were both involved in the golf and tennis community, got on committees, and we had an instant family within a week who now are our closest, dearest friends. In terms of my early education, I spent the majority of my childhood in Westport, Connecticut, where I graduated. Went on to Indiana State University, where I majored in pre-law. I also ran track there for 3 years, as well as holding down a full-time job at a trucking company my senior year, where I worked from 3 to 11:30 at night, because I was at that time married, and my family said, if you can be married, you can take care of yourself. So that's how that went. I then went to Kansas Law School for about a semester. And the Army and I became acquainted, so I enlisted. I went to Vietnam and served with the 4th Infantry Division for a year. I returned, finished law school in 2 years so that I could save a year of living time. And because I could not play well with others, I came into the Kansas City area and opened my own office, where I worked for 47 years before retiring at the age of 73, close to 74. During that period of time, I was the bar president. There are approximately 1,500 members of our bar. I then went into our foundation, which is the charitable arm, of our association. I served 2 terms as president and 18 years on the board. I held a number of positions while I was there, and I learned early in life, don't volunteer. But I found that in middle age, yes, you should volunteer. You should be a part of your community. And that's when I became involved in my profession, because I thought it was good for the profession to leave something behind me. We live here in what we hope to be our forever home. I have served 2 terms on the tennis committee, and I'm starting my 2nd term as the liaison from the Board of Advisors, formerly the Board of Governors. And I am in my 3rd year with the Board of Governors. I believe that Hilton Head Plantation is the finest community I've ever lived in. We love being here. We love having our family here. In my way of thinking, it is the most well-run place I've ever seen. And I'm not sure exactly what I could do other than to maintain that the status quo at the minimum continues on for this plantation. I feel that being a conduit back to my community, being an ombudsman, being a person who's available to my friends and neighbors for suggestions, complaints, whatever they have, because nobody goes through life without, I won't say the word, we know what it is, complaining heavily. I wanted to be a part of that process. Instead of seeing how does the process work, I wanted to be in it. And that's why I started with Country Club, worked through those years with the club. And about 3 months ago, I decided I think it would be a good thing to spread out a little bit more and become a part of the community as a whole, as opposed to just the Country Club. And that's why I'm here today. Hopefully I will have your support to continue on in this endeavor. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Our next candidate is Ellen Chen.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for coming in. I want to do a sound check. Can everybody hear me? Okay, great. So thanks again for coming. I want to say that the reason I want to run for the board is because, frankly, I'm very grateful to be at this place at this time of my life. I retired 5 years ago, and I feel privileged to be able to do that. And I live here, and oftentimes I think I would live in paradise. I never thought for where I came from that I could be in a place like this. I grew up in New Jersey. We did not have a lot of social and economic support when I was growing up. My parents gave me hot dogs and tuna for our protein. So as God is my witness, I'll never eat another hot dog again. Professionally, I was first went into Chase Manhattan Bank at that now JP Morgan Chase as a credit trainee. By the time I left, I was a vice president. I worked on risk analysis, cash flow analysis, underwriting a variety of loans and investments, mostly generated to protect community interest or generate community interest. That includes supportive housing, elderly housing, and primary care development, and so on. The deals went from anywhere 300,000 to 2 million. At any given time, my portfolio was no less than 100 million. I was also a principal of a real estate development company where we developed 100 million square feet of industrial space, mostly in Brooklyn and also in New York. Now that I'm retired, I played lots of tennis and think that I play better than I do, which I don't. I love F1 cars and racing. And for the last 3 years, I've been taking, well, first it took 1.5 years to train my dog to be a therapy dog. So over the last 1.5 years, we've been visiting senior homes, elder housing, memory centers, rehabilitation hospitals, and we've also visited with patients in hospice care or hospice care at home. And that gives me the greatest joy. I have to say, it just gives me a lot of joy. I also like to talk to people. I enjoy making people happy. And I learned a lot of that from working at Spring Lake in the pro shop here. I enjoy having a conversation with folks. I endeavor to learn everybody's name. And there's a group of folks that come every day at 2 o'clock, and I especially appreciate them. Okay, so the three things I want to focus on, working as a board member, and so frankly, we all want our property value to go up, and the staff and the board and Peter have done a tremendous job of keeping us in a good place. But the community is evolving. We have a lot of sales, which we're all happy about. And I want to keep that going for all of us. I want to make sure that every sector of our community is heard and represented, and different interests and people want, what they need, and what we can afford all come together to make us continue to be a vibrant community that accommodates not only the heritage residents, but also new families coming into the plantation. Thank you.
Our next candidate is Keith Flagel, and as soon as we hook him up, he'll take over.
Yeah, someone asked if that was a lie detector they were putting on me. Thank you, Todd. Good afternoon, good evening. Thank you all for coming. Appreciate that. I'm Keith Schlegel. I'm here tonight seeking a second board term. Is it any closer? It's going to be behind me, but okay. I currently serve as treasurer of the board, which puts me as chairman of the finance committee. I've served a total of 4 years on the finance committee, 3 years on the security committee, 2 years as chair. I think that we live in a wonderful community, and I think that it's the obligation of the board to do its best to listen to all of you and do the best job that we can for all of you. My career was in banking and corporate finance. I managed a $500 million portfolio on multiple occasions. The job largely entailed working with initially middle market firms and later on larger corporations, evaluating budgets, business plans, forecasts, and management teams. So I think I have both operating and financial analytics skills that benefit me in a role as a board member here. One of the things that I realized when I retired is it's very important to give back and get involved, both. So I'm a volunteer at Deepwell. I pick up furniture for them. I pick up toys for the Santa shop. I pick up food and deliver food for their food pantry. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to spend 4 or 5 hours driving a truck for Second Helpings, where we'll pick up hopefully closer to 3,000 pounds of food and deliver it to some food pantries. So people ask me what gym I belong to, and I tell them Deepwell and Second Helpings. From a town perspective, I also am involved with the ATAX committee, which takes tourist dollars and distributes it to not-for-profits, largely involved in cultural and tourism areas. This year, I was fortunate enough to serve as chairman of that group. So what is Hilton Head Plantation? I mean, you know the statistics. We're 4,000 acres. We're 10 miles of leisure paths, 72 miles of roadway. What we also are is an organization pleased to have our activities group run over 900 exercise classes in a year, 60 plus clubs, many of you are members of or have started. There are numerous educational opportunities. I think we're all gifted to have Pine Island Beach, which now is almost a 100-yard long beach, thanks to Peter and our town council for that. We've got Spring Lake Tennis, Spring Lake Pool. We have Dolphin Head. I think these amenities are very important to protect. One of the things that this board has done is to hire a firm to give us a 10-year, give us data to provide to you a 10-year capital plan. That's underway now. They will be reaching out to community members for input. Once the board has that report, we're going to share that with you so we can make some optimal decisions with respect to where we decide to put our capital funds. couple of people have said we're a financially strong POA. At the end of 2016, 10 years ago, right after Matthew, we had $4.1 million in total funds, split between operating, repair, and replace, weather casualty, and our capital transfer fund. Year-end 25, we'll have just about $10 million. So that's a $6 million improvement in 10 years, after $4 million to recover from Matthew and $4.5 million from Dolphin Head. So what are my goals for our second term? I would like to see us increase board visibility and access for you. I would like to prioritize resident input and listen to the voice of the community. I would like to be a positive representative for all of you within the community. And specific action items, again, the 10-year capital plan, which covers 5 different projects from Plantation House through to leisure paths. I would like to see us increase the use of technology to make life better for all of our residents. I would like to see us maintain board oversight and supporting the excellent operating team, management team that we have here. And I would like to increase board visibility, perhaps through more board open forums. Thank you.
Just give that to John. Our next candidate is John Shalhoub. And
Thank you, Ed. Thank you, Peter and staff members for being here tonight. Thank you, board members as well. My name is John Shalhoub, and I was born and raised in Massachusetts, which is where I developed my passion for playing music. And it's also where I met my lovely wife, Martha. Say hello, Martha. As I mentioned, I have a passion for music, so I started my career working for the Northeast's largest musical instrument retailer, where I worked for about 7 years and really learned the ins and outs of a small business. And while I was there, or after about 7 years of working there, I was recruited by a company called Yamaha. Now, you may know Yamaha from motorcycles, or maybe boat engines, or even golf carts, could be. But I was working for Yamaha, the musical instrument company, and they are the world's largest musical instrument company by 4 times the closest competitor. So you could say this is my dream come true, actually working for the biggest in the industry. While there, I learned an executive level sales and marketing, finance and administration. Did a great deal of managing of large teams, small teams. And one of the things I say I learned the most, I learned towards the latter part of my employment there in just the last few years. I learned a lot about team leadership and modern leadership, the kind that requires trust and requires accountability and requires communication and clarity. These things became very important as the workforce was changing. So did leadership have to change. And I was very fortunate to be during that transition in the 2020, early 2020s. Well, we moved to Hilton Head in 2023, and I retired soon after in 2024, because you can only take it for so long. You say, I got to get out there and start enjoying this beautiful community. Martha and I, we love biking, we love boating, we love learning about the low country and the history that's here. It's really remarkable. And you'll often see us walking my little dog, Charlie, down High Bluff Road, who we love very much. So if you see me, give a little honk and I'll wave, and it'll be really fun. Charlie loves walking out there. I volunteer for an organization called SCORE. SCORE is financed by the SBA, and I mentor small business owners, helping them get their business off the ground here in Hilton Head. And I also mentor musical businesses, music-related businesses across the country. I currently serve on the communications committee here, and very proud of the work we did with Engage and with the website. And we're doing a lot of work currently with the triennial survey that was out in 24, will be back in 2027. Martha and I chose HHP for the same reason that many of you did. We love the landscape, we love the amenities that we've got here, and of course we really enjoy the low POA assessments, and I think all of you do as well. So it's really important that we keep in mind the finances as we go forward. The current board has done a tremendous job reaching out to residents and connecting in many different ways. And it's my hope to continue and grow upon that as well. Because in the near future, we've got a lot of projects to work on together. If you might have read Margie's article in the newsletter, we're talking about the plantation house, the leisure paths, a dog park, lots of different things that we're going to need to work on together. At the same time, we've got to watch our finances. We must not overspend, but we must not underdevelop at the same time. So the way that I plan on doing this is working very closely with you, the residences, and having communication, open, clear, transparent communication, and getting your involvement. Please join a committee and help us make these decisions that are important to everybody here. It doesn't work without you. So thank you very much.
Someone left there. Is this yours, John? Our next presentation will be a video. It's John Zamarzli. And let it go when you're ready.
EOA board. First of all, I want to apologize. My wife and I are avid hikers. We had planned a trip to northern Arizona way before the calendar was set. We apologize. Please understand that the board will be my top priority going forward. I am a father of 4 grown children. I am a business owner. I'm involved with many local nonprofits and my local church, and I love to travel. As a resident for 2 decades, I still love the scenic view driving down Whooping Crane. I still go to Dolphin Head, look over the Broad River, and can't believe I live here. Why am I running? For 2 reasons. One, I want to continue the history of protecting, maintaining, and conserving our little corner of paradise. It's what drew us all here. And 2, I'm also running to protect the traditions of our community. Those include decades of sound financials, a conservative budget, residential engagement, and fostering a generational community. You know, our community is like a beautiful older home with incredible bones. Yes, it requires maintenance, updated tweaks here and there, always a fresh coat of paint, and maybe an addition or 2. My point is, I'm running to protect the natural beauty and traditions of our community, not to change it into something unrecognizable. This is the basic reason that we all love HHP. If you agree the beauty and traditions of our community must be upheld, please vote for me, John Zamarzli, the bald guy. Thank you.
Just so you know, John's on the Zoom. He can hear you. Okay, and he is going to be answering questions when we go through them. Before I start with the questions, I want to make a point of letting everybody know that our candidates who are here will be over on the left-hand side after we finish the questioning. So you're welcome and encouraged to stop and talk to them and ask them whatever you want individually as well, okay? So the first question, Ellen will be the first one to answer this, but we'll go in line. Given skyrocketing costs and no interest in increasing our assessments, if elected, are the things you want to explore to increase cash flow?
Okay. Hold on to it, okay.
Just stand here.
So we have a lot of resources in HHP. The biggest which, well, the smallest which actually, the most scarce of which is our land. We don't have a lot of open space. If we choose to do one thing, we're not going to be able to do another. We are very happy with our assessments. Nobody wants to pay more. However, honestly, if we want to have something that supports the capital plan that we're working on, we need to really be smart about where we put our resources and how we generate them, frankly. So assuming status quo, I have two ideas. The one you're not going to like, the other one may be something you have not thought of. We have 4,400 households here. If we all chip in $1, about dollar will give us $40,000. But if we all chip in $100, that's a dinner for two plus a glass of wine. We can generate $440,000. And that can go a long way to fixing our whatever needs to be fixing. And I hear leisure path is one that folks often bring on. The other thing is something like the pickleball. I'm not suggesting we take away any tennis courts. Oh, this thing, okay, sorry. For every tennis court, we can put out 4 pickleball courts and you can make 4 times as much money. So that's kind of thing that I mean by generating value out of what we currently have. And what we need to have or want to have, that we need to be very smart about how we need to raise it and how much we need to raise.
Okay, John will be next.
Okay, thank you. It first assumes the premise that we need to raise money. I'm not giving in to that right away, but let's say that we need to make some changes in the revenue generation. There are a number of ways to generate revenue. Some good, some not so good. Not so good, raising assessments. Kind of good, selling property creates more transfer fees. And as we learned this morning, as a golf course sells, we make a lot from the transfer fee of that as well. And we hope to have some of that this year, which would be wonderful. And then there's also the concept of user funds, which is, if you think about tennis, the tennis outfit essentially breaks even on their operating expenses because of the fees that they charge. Breaking even is a good thing. It means that something like tennis is not a drain on the resources of the community. And I think the same thing could be possible with pickleball, for example. And that's one of the things I'd like to explore is, can we add pickleball courts somewhere, somehow, realizing there's a cost to the build, but then the daily operation should be able to pay for itself, if not increase some revenue there as well. The funds that we have are very strong right now. We have the major repair and release fund, I believe at about 2.9 million. I think Keith can probably confirm that. We have the capital transfer fund at about 1.5 million, maybe up if we include what came in 2025. So the funding is strong. All total, we're at oddly 67% of our annual revenue. This is why I say to you, I don't believe it's about raising more funds. It's about utilizing the funds we have. Most small towns and cities try to put 18% of their revenue aside for a rainy day. We have 67. Now, granted, we have hurricanes, so there's a reason we have a big amount, but we're doing well, thanks to the fine folks in the finance team here. So again, I think that we're in a good place.
Okay.
So I have a little experience on the finance side. Roughly 70%, 71% of our revenue is generated through assessments. So without changing in assessments, it's going to be very difficult to raise meaningful dollars. Another 13% or so comes through gate fees and daily passes, decals, that sort of thing. A lot of people here occasionally will complain when they've got to pay that fee. We need to make that much more easy through the credit card system that we're working through now. But that generates $1,350,000 a year. Those are meaningful dollars. We currently have $2.1 million in the capital transfer fee, and we have $2.5 million roughly in the operating fee fund, sorry. $2.1 million in the major repair and replacement fund, and $2.98 million in the weather casualty fund. Now, the weather casualty fund is, we often ask, is that enough? We don't know, but it's meaningful dollars to help us down the path. If you talk about trying to do some of these capital projects, in the last 5 years, Todd ran some numbers for us. We've averaged just about $1 million in surplus through excess funds at the end of a year, which we've been transferring into the capital transfer fund, and through the capital transfer fee, which is generating roughly $620,000 a year. As each year goes by and we have fewer lots for people to build upon, we think that at some point it's got to slow down, but it really hasn't. And those properties that were selling for $300,000 10, 15 years ago are now selling for $900,000. And a lot of the people coming in buying $900,000 homes would like to see a refresh on a lot of our facilities or upgrade in a lot of our facilities. So I think that if you compare our $1,400 annual assessment, which was just under $1,000 20 years ago, to across the street at Indigo Run, where their fee is $2,800, you might think a little differently about the assessment levels that we have. No one wants to sting anyone by any means, but if we go forward with the 10-year capital plan, we're going to get that information out to you to help you give us input as to what you want. And if the majority say we don't want a dime increase in the assessments, we'll live with everything the way it is, then we can certainly do that. If the majority of you say we really want to see our leisure paths improved, we would like to see pickleball, we will try to give you estimates of cost and timelines to do these things in order to make the right decisions based on what your input is. Thank you. Leave this here.
Okay, John Zamozli is on the line, so we're going to give it to him.
Whenever you're ready, John.
Ready. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Perfect. It's actually great that I piggyback behind Keith there, because I do agree in terms of assessments and our current financial strength. We functioning the way we currently are, we are in great shape. The key to the future is to ping our residents, to get engagement, understanding of what they want as an amenity. Do they want more pickleball courts? Do they want a better leisure? Do they want a designated bike path down Whoopie Creek? These are all questions that the residents need to be pulled on and we need to respond to. One of the reasons why I believe many of us chose Hilton Head Plantation is because it's what I would call an a la carte community, which is I don't have to join the country club or pay the exorbitant fees to golf or play tennis. It's a la carte. I can pick and choose what I like to do. And that's in what this board should do to respond to these residents who prefer an a la carte type system. It could even involve maybe adding fees to certain groups. Regardless, it is the engagement of the residents that's the most important thing. Also, living through Hurricane Matthew, I can tell you, nobody knows how much we're going to need in that weather casualty fund. Experiencing that firsthand, it was devastating. I hope it doesn't happen again, but we need to always prepare and plan for that. Thank you.
Okay, our next question, I think has been partially answered, but in the interest of transparency, we're going to give everybody a chance to answer it again in case they missed something. What volunteer roles have you played in Hilton Head Plantation? For example, clubs, committees, helping with special events. And I'm going to start with Keith.
Thanks, Ed. So I covered the committee roles I've had with security and with finance. I've been here a couple times helping put up Christmas decorations and taking down Christmas decorations. I have not done anywhere near as much of that as Chrissy and her staff and a lot of you people have. So those who have done it, thank you very much. I've been part of the Bocce Club. I'm part of the Java Thursdays. I think it's important to get to know as many of your neighbors and do as much as you can for the neighborhood as you can. So that's it.
Okay, yep, John.
Thank you. Okay, where do I begin? I am the Vice Commodore of the Yacht Club. I am the founder and president of the Barbecue Club. I am a fourth-season member of the Bocce Club, a member of the Men's Java Club, also a member of the Garage Band and the Acoustic Band, because I still think I'm going to be a rock star after all these years. For volunteer work, as I mentioned, I serve on the Communications Committee, and again, very proud of the work that we've done there. It's been a great year, and I'm sure that we'll continue to make improvements, particularly in the areas of the Engage website, the newsletter, which I'm not sure how we can tweak it any better than it is. And by the way, it's an excellent revenue generator as well. Thank you, Pippin. So that's my volunteer experience here, anyway.
Okay, we're going to go to John Zamozli. Ready, John? Oh, okay.
Thank you, Pippi. So I still work full time, but since my kids left the house, I've had plenty of time to do other things. Not to mention many of the nonprofit around the island, but I have been involved with the finance committee for the last 2 years, primarily because, I believe this community's financial strength is the linchpin for the future. Living through the bank crisis of 2008 on Hilton Head and watching my house decrease in value by 27%, along with living through Hurricane Matthew, I wanted to get involved with our community finance committee to ensure our residential houses and our property values go up. That 27% is long gone, and it's above 10, 12, 15%. So I believe in maintaining that stability, and that's the reason why I've been a part of the finance. Thank you.
Okay, Ellen. And let me give you this.
Okay. Hope I do better this time. So I'm not a big volunteer person per se, but the things I am involved in, I go very deep. With my dog, for instance, we visit patients every week, and sometimes twice a day. We visit a variety of people. Sometimes people, in their homes or in memory care center and so on. I play tennis. I am an aspiring bocce player. We lost every match we played. Bocce is very new to me, but I love it. My entire life career has been focused on doing community development work, and that means affordable housing, community development in terms of primary care facilities It's working in people's homes, working in their communities. So when they get sick, they don't have to go to the emergency room. They actually have a place to visit. For senior living, single people, single elderly with on-site social services and medical support. And because that is my life, I feel like my life has been very focused on mission-driven work, and I care very much about civic duties, and that's where I focus my attention on. Within HHP, I just really haven't been here that long. So I am involved in the Farmers Club, like getting my hands dirty, tennis, as I mentioned before, bocce. And I'm sure there'll be other opportunities, but I have to say, unless it's something that really draws me in, and I do it very, very deeply, and I don't divide my time, and then I'm sure those things I'll keep discovering and keep finding them. But I can't compete with people who've been here for 30 of years and serving various committees. I just can't compete with that.
Okay, our next question, John will be the one to start this one. What do the candidates think about term limits for committee members?
Okay, before I get into that, also a member of the Craft Beer Club. Me too. Okay, sorry, term limits for committee members. I support them. I think it's a good idea, and I appreciate everyone who gives time to these committees. I want more community involvement, and one of the ways to get there is more people cycling through the committees. Now, we can impose term limits provided we have the volunteers to fill the positions. So again, I encourage you all, fill out the board interest forms and get in there with us and be part of the solutions here. I think that it's important to get that rotating and broad feedback from every corner of the community. So it's not just the communities, it's also coming to the coffees with Peter. It's maybe opening things up, and maybe I'll throw this out there. I would love to see some town halls, and I would love to do them as a board member. Just as many ways that we can hear from you as possible. You'll be able to email me directly, even if it's my personal address, I will give it to you, because I have to hear from you. My only job as a board member is to represent you. That's it. And we'll go from there.
John Zamazili.
All right, thank you. So the question's interesting because as a board member, if I'm elected, hopefully, I serve for the people, the residents, and as a committeeman, I serve at the pleasure of the board. So your voice to the committee is from the board. The board is the one who selects the committee members, and they serve at their pleasure. So the question is kind of mute because they really should be asking, should you have a term limit on a board member? Because the board member serves the people, the residents of the Hilton Head Plan. Thank you.
Okay, Ellen.
I think as a business person, I think it's good practice to have turnovers in any business. So I would support term limits. The question is, how long is a term? That's a different question, but I think that's also a very important question for us to consider. We need to have institutional memory, and that's a given. But we also need new people coming here, as we're going to have, and we are having, that we have place for them to also generate ideas and be, there needs to be attended to. We are all in this together. We all want one thing in common, no matter where you come from or where you are, I am convinced. And that is increased property value and keeping them there. And we all want the best for this community, and the best to do that is to have everyone having a chance to be able to serve the community.
Okay, Keith?
Much as board members have term limits, we have a 3-year term, and you can run for a second 3-year term, and then your term limited out. I'm supportive of the concept of term limits for committee members, but as a couple have said, you've got to be sure you have that corporate memory, that institutional memory. On some of the boards, I'll say the Architectural Review Board in particular, you don't want to throw 4 new members in a year who really have no experience on that. That's a board, not a committee. So I think you need to be very thoughtful about how we go about this. So there may be periods where we need the expertise of somebody who's been on a particular committee for years. I'm also respectful when I sit in this room in our annual meeting and awards are given out to people for serving 3 years, 6 years, 9 years. And I think that's very impressive that people have given that much of their time. So I have somewhat mixed feelings about it, but in general, I think that it's critical that, particularly for the newer members within Hilton Head Plantation, they have an opportunity to get on and don't feel that they've been pushed away from joining a committee. So,
John, you went already, right? You answered already, right? I started with you. Okay. This one, we're going to start with John Zamozli. And the question is there anyone who wants to change the name to not include the word plantation?
So I've been here a long time, and I know everyone who's in that room purchased property in Hilton Head Plantation. I'm vehemently opposed to changing the name. I know it's been polled, and if plurality of the residents want to have another poll to discuss the name change, I'm open to that. But if it was up to me, absolutely not. I've been here for 20 years, and I moved here. I chose Hilton Head Plantation. I knew the name of Hilton. It was Hilton Head Plantation when I moved here. I hope it stays Plantation. Thank you.
Ellen, you're next.
So I have a question for Peter before I answer. You mentioned in today's meeting that the name Hilton Head Plantation has been branded? Trademarked. Okay, so to a large degree then this is kind of a moot issue because we're already in that process of doing it. Yeah. So this morning, my answer was, if I choose to move down here, there are a lot of things that are different. And I used to drive a Mini Cooper. Now I drive a truck. And so I was not anticipating the name to be such a big item that it would be a divisive one for our community. And I hope that we have more important things to do. And so long as for now, if it's settled, we should just leave it at that.
Okay. Keith?
This morning, we were asked if we would bring this issue up as a board member, and my answer was no, I would not. But if any resident feels that this is an important issue to them or a group of their friends or neighbors, they certainly have every right to bring that up and have a discussion. A survey was done several years ago, and the majority of that vote was not to change it. Even if we took the folks who said, I want more information, and put that on the I want to change it, the I don't want to change it vote, survey, however you want to describe it, was the majority. And I think we need to listen to the majority of the residents. I think we live in a beautiful place. I'm sorry if there are people who are offended by the name. Some have pointed out they did come here knowing that that was a name. I would point out to you that all of the other communities that have changed their name, such as Sea Pines, Indigo Run, it's kind of hard to call us Hilton Head. So we need to come up with something else. There's been a lot of money put into our brand and our community, and certainly none of us want to lose that. I would also point out that from a legal standpoint, if you buy into Sea Pines, you buy into Sea Pines Plantation. Indigo Run Plantation, and so on. Each of these communities' legal documents still reference plantation. What they've done is taken the name off the sign. That's it. So.
Leave it to John.
Thank you. It's a very good question. I also stated this morning to the same question that I would not bring up the change for a name change. And I respect the vote that was taken and the results of that vote that was taken. I also value the benefits of having a known name, a trademarked name. I also feel it's important that we honor the history that's here in Hilton Head Plantation, and history isn't always pretty. And that the word plantation for me doesn't give me the feeling I'd like to have. That's not the reason to change the name. Let's honor what has happened and what that name once stood for. Maybe it won't always stand for slavery. But we have history here that needs to be told, and history that's forgotten gets repeated. And there's no sense in forgetting this history. We're in this historic room that has been part of Hilton Head Plantation for a very long time, the Plantation House. I really look forward to seeing this be the capsule of history for our community that started just over 50 years ago. We have a story to tell. That's our story. That's a new story. And this is the place to tell it. Thank you.
Yeah, I got it. Okay, next question. How would you answer to having an auto gate in the front of the plantation for the homeowners so they don't get stuck in line? Ellen, you're first.
I'm not sure what that means. Okay, does this need clarification? Does this mean we have two gates, one for visitors and contractors, the other for owners?
Like the back gate.
Oh, the back
they're asking
gate,
like
the
the back
cypress gate. Okay. Yeah, okay. We have decals. We have one gate for homeowners without the decal. I guess if the question is whether or not we should have another gate for contractors coming in and out, I would consider that to be a technological issue. That's another question I'm answering? Is that? I just heard back gate, the front gate.
No.
Okay.
The question is,
Yeah.
how do you feel about having an automated gate at the front of the plantation, just as we do in the back, so that homeowners did not have to wait when
gotcha.
contractors get in the other line?
I gotcha. Okay. So we're talking about a third gate with the automatic,
Or replace when it's for owners with an auto.
Okay, what we currently have are security guards waving people through, right? And we have a line for contractors. I guess I'm not understanding the question. Is it added convenience for us to not have a gate there for, we're using security personnel and instead having a
Yes.
gate? Yeah. Okay, so what do we do? Okay. Why don't we just have one gate for, I guess I don't really understand what the cost saving here is. Are we going to have, if we have an other gate, I think that would be, I don't understand the question enough to be commenting on it.
Peter,
Okay.
you want to comment?
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't reconfigure the front gate with an automatic gate unless you
No.
redo the entire
I'm going to let you
complex.
guys answer.
And you actually have to add a third lane. You're gonna need a visitor's lane, you're gonna need a gate for, residents to go through. If you wanna put an automated gate there, you're gonna have a third lane. Part of
the reason the board is doing a capital improvement assessment
I'm going to let you get
is
answer.
to look at that very thing. So it's premature at this point because you're not going to know how much it's going to cost. You're going to have to reconfigure the whole thing. You have a fire station that's less than 100 yards up. You cannot make an automated gate the way it is right now. It will not work. It has to be a huge capital improvement at the front gate.
Okay.
So asking these folks,
Peter,
absolutely all
we're still
support.
going to let the candidates
Absolutely.
respond, okay? So Keith, you're next. Oops. All the parts.
We need one more hand.
Yeah.
So the engagement we have with Half and Company for the projects includes the security gates, which is not strictly the buildings, although they've been there for over 50 years. Within those buildings, I think if you walked in those, you'd be horrified. The conditions in there every couple of years require an awful lot of work, redoing drywall, redoing ducting. And I think some of that is a workplace issue and not just a capital improvement issue for the residents. As an example, when we put the Christmas lights up, they can't use the microwave in the main gatehouse because it blows the circuit. So, as Peter said though, in order to redo and put in an automated gate, we need to reconfigure all of that. And that can be done, and that's one of the projects that's going to be evaluated. So my take on it is I'm in favor of doing that and replacing those buildings and getting people easy access through a bar gate, but it's going to require that the community support that as a capital project and the use of our funds. I would also say that if you would like to invest some time with our officers, they are happy to bring you into those gates for 15, 20, 30 minutes. And if you can identify the HHP sticker on every car going through at 15 miles an hour, you're most impressive. Call call Larry or call Director Green, and they'll set you up with that.
Let John go.
Yeah, I think you get the idea that adding an arm in the place of the security person is only going to slow things down. It's not that fast when I go in the back gate, to be honest with you. We go very quickly through. And I would miss the friendly faces that wave us in. I kind of like that. But to speak to the potential capital improvement, it's really important. This is our front gate. This is the cover of the book, if you will. If you're someone coming in to the plantation and thinking of buying, or you're a realtor that wants to show property here, what do you see when you drive up, and how it works for you getting through is super important. So I think it does help us to improve this area if we can do it. I think it needs it. I would love to see the contractor lane go faster, because that means we're collecting the money faster. That's all good for us too. And then there's no long lines if we need to go up and pay for one of our contractors, which sometimes we do. Okay.
Okay. John Mosley. Everybody a chance?
All right, I'm back. I'm back. Sorry about that. I'll start over. I agree with John that the security shacks in the front are what people see when they first come into our community. And to Peter's point, it's part of a major part of our capital improvement projects that everyone's looking into. Also, I'm a huge fan of the back gate, the barcode back gate. However, to John's point also, it's not necessarily always the quickest way. And to Peter's point, the third lane issue could be a major problem with the fire station there, and obviously the cost. Maybe some inventive ideas like a resident only pass lane, or maybe you can get a security pass at the back end. You have to go to the front. I'm just trying to think out of the box, because I do believe that third lane is going to be a very difficult stretch. But I love having the barcode in the back. Thank you.
Okay, I have one more question, and it's similarly difficult for folks to answer because this came up this morning. And the question was, if ICE comes to the area, what would you do? And correct me if I'm wrong, Peter, but we have to let them in. So I'm not quite sure how much more the candidates can add to that. So we don't have control as board members with regard to that. So that concludes the questions that we were asked. I'm going to ask if anybody has any other questions. We can. We have another mic. Oh, does that work? Okay. Does anybody else have any other questions? Okay, I got a couple of them out here.
What was this one? Is he going to be able to hear through this one? Okay.
Oh,
Oh, there it is.
that'll be easier. Keith, you'll be answering the first one, so step right up.
I see the difficulty you had holding two of these things.
You got to hold on, John.
It's magnetic. It just sticks on the side of it.
Beer Club must
I
have
think
met
I'm going to
early.
run for the board now that I've solved that problem. I'll be on the technology committee. Would you support, without knowing the costs or the project, borrowing money to complete a capital project sooner than waiting to collect the funds to get it done, and possibly allowing for 2 capital projects to get done in the space of 1?
So my answer is that without knowing the costs, no. We never borrowed money from outside, although we do have a $2 million line of credit at the bank should we need it. When Matthew hit, we borrowed from ourselves. We took money from other funds. And as I said, we currently have about $10 million in funding. Our expenses are running about $8 million a year, so we have 120% of our annual expenses in funds already. What we're trying to do now as a board is assess what are the timelines for these various projects and what kind of cost ranges are we going to experience. Some are concerned that we're not going to have exact numbers. We could have a pretty broad range on a property like Plantation House, for example. I'm not a fan of let's do one project at a time and make everything else wait. I think that when Dolphin Head was recently selected and done, it was a very clear winner as a priority, and it was the right choice. I think prior to my arrival here in 18, the Spring Lake Pool Complex was done, very clear project. Today, is it Plantation House? Is it the leisure paths? Is it the security gates and not just the buildings, but again, the whole entry system that we have here? Is it a dog park? Is it pickleball? If we can put a couple of the less expensive projects in place while we're doing the permitting for one of the more major projects, that makes a lot of sense to me. And the only place, Steve, I think I would look to borrow would be within some of our other funds if we choose to do that in order to complete something. My take.
So my thinking on borrowing is no. However, if we're in a position to borrow from one of our own funds, that's a different story. I could get on board with that, particularly if it's needed to complete a particular project, or if we're just a bit short of a project. My understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, Simone, my understanding is the board can borrow up to 10% of our annual revenue without a vote from the residents, but if it's over that amount, it requires a vote from the residents. So it would be out of our hands. But in general, I don't support borrowing to complete the capital improvement projects. I support maybe utilizing some of the funds that we've already got set aside, provided we have the line of credit sufficient to cover us in the event of a real emergency. Because if you look at a SWOT analysis on our community, our strength is our financial management, without question. Our weakness, I'm going to say, is our communication. And I think the two-way communication. Our opportunities are to really enhance our amenities. and make them even better than they are. Our threat is the weather. And that's what scares me from borrowing funds.
John Zamorsley.
Oh, so sorry.
Really, it's amazing. I don't have much more to add to what the other gentlemen have already said. I'm against borrowing as well. It would require a vote, and I believe because we live on Hilton Island and I've been through Hurricane Matthew, I can tell you, I'm not going to be borrowing for projects when every year we have a potential hurricane that might hit. And that, telling you folks, if you don't believe me, take time, go online, just YouTube Hurricane Matthew Hilton Head. It was devastating, and it scares me to death. And that's why we need to maintain a fiscal conservative board. Thank you.
Sure, okay. So as a matter of principle, I am not in favor of borrowing. However, in my head, I was thinking, well, depending on the interest rate environment, if you can borrow money for 1% and you can put your money in the money market for 3%, I'm borrowing it because I am earning 2% by hedging the money. And from a project development perspective, you often have soft costs that happens in the beginning of the project, and meaning that there are engineering, feasibility studies, foundation analysis, and so on. And oftentimes in the project development process, that's when you borrow and then you take money, you take the construction cost to take out your soft cost. So then again, it's actually a money-saving device to do that. But as a matter of principle, obviously, the answer is no, I'm not in favor of borrowing.
Okay, I think there's another question.
I don't mean to continue to talk about the security gates, but my question is, when we talk about the security gates, you're talking about adding a third lane. Is it possible, would it be possible, would you consider, instead of adding a third lane, the lane that shuts down at night, that is where I come in after 8 o'clock, is where I get stuck. If there was an electronic gate put there that would be able to turn on when that gate is no longer available, that would help with those nighttime backups, especially during the weekends when people are coming in for visiting, and there could be a very long line back there.
John, I think you're next.
Very good suggestion, and I'm sure Peter and team can probably respond to that better than I could as a candidate for the board. You know, I'm good for anything that helps us. I haven't come back in the gate after 8 o'clock in a very long time, so I'm sorry I'm not familiar with that situation. Okay, that's my best.
I'm going to ask the candidates if they want to try to respond some more. Ellen, you want to go?
To the security gate issue?
Yeah, to what he just said.
You know, I spent some time with Vanessa because I was asked about security, and I thought, oh, you know, my Uber driver has a really hard time coming in. Yes, I like the security that we're providing. But if it's a matter of convenience, I have not studied, and I have to ask Vanessa about it, frankly. But again, it's for me, it's all about cost and efficiency. If we put in a third gate, like Peter was saying, that is not possible right now.
That's not it. The gate that closes at 8 o'clock, have an arm there for people who come home later from work.
Right. So yes, I understand what you're asking. But can you have, without a third gate, can you have a second gate with an arm that only operates sometimes but not other times? That's the question, right? Okay. Yeah. I don't know enough. Honestly, there's something.
Every other plantation, we're the only ones that still have 2 security stations.
Yeah.
And a long line, especially if you just finished a 12-hour day and now you can't even get home because you're in a line waiting
Yeah.
to get in.
Yeah.
You know, they should just at least have the courtesy for the people living in here that they should be able to just get to their house.
Okay. Thank you for that information. This is, this morning I mentioned that my method of working is to learn, listen, and study and develop perspective. That obviously is not something I have encountered, but I would love to have a conversation with you later on at the table. And then I will have to talk to Vanessa about it because frankly, the board's job really is to provide advice to the management. And to the degree that this is an operational issue, I would really have to defer to Peter and Vanessa and other security officers. Yeah.
So I have talked to security about this during my time chairing the security committee, and the security folks want to have eyes on the vehicles and who's coming in with those vehicles into Hilton Head Plantation. I get that if there's a barcode gate on the vehicle, it should be fine. One of the times we've had challenges and issues within the community has been teenagers bringing in their friends and going around smashing mailboxes, destroying other things. If our security people see a kid in a car with a kid in a car with maybe 5 friends, they may say, let's follow that car and take a look at what's going on. So our security officers, who are the experts in keeping us safe, as Peter says, I hate to say zero crime, but we're about as close to that as we can get. They do not want to have vehicles coming in where they can't see inside the car. The way the houses are configured now, if we put a gate there, they can't do it. That's the reason why it's not been put there. It doesn't mean it's not an idea that we can try to find a solution for before we do a full redo of the gates. I respect the issue of end of your day, you don't want to spend 15 minutes in a line. I understand that. But we do try to rely on the experts within the security group.
Okay, I'm gonna suggest, if you want to discuss it some more, candidates will be over here on the side, and Peter will as well. So that basically concludes with no other hands up. Before we break up, I want to thank Pippi for managing this for this morning and this afternoon. And with that, I second the motion to adjourn.
Thank you.